Spiderman Unlimited, also known as Peter Parker from Earth 751-263. With how much mainstream attention the Spider-Verse is currently getting, thanks to Miles Morales, I thought it'd be apt to pay tribute to one of the first Spider-Men to ever cross over to another universe, as he did so almost 15 years before the first ever official Spider-Verse comic, and since then seems to have been forgotten by time. So what became of this pioneer of the Spider-Verse? And will we ever see him again? Join me and let's take a look. I mentioned that Spider-Man Unlimited was one of the first Spider-Men to cross over to another dimension. The first was Peter Parker from Earth 92131. Earth 92131 itself seems to have branched off from Earth 616, which itself is the traditional Spider-Man most of us are familiar with. In essence, Peter Parker, the classic comic universe Spider-Man. In Universe 92131, everything for the most part ran uncannily parallel to the comics until Spider-Man was contacted by a powerful and mysterious clairvoyant mutant known as Madame Web. Despite her benevolence, from here on it seems a multitude of reality-fracturing events occurred, until eventually this timeline seemed to be irreconcilably splintered. It would seem that when beings or objects from different dimensions somehow cross over and leave the place or time of their origin, further splinters in time are sure to follow.
As long as I get my portal device, I'll be just fine. Look out! Mary Jane! Mary Jane! Mary Jane!
In one reality, Mary Jane was lost forever, and in another, she returned. In fact, it seems to be widely accepted Earth 751-263 is actually the canon continuation of Earth 92131. Things for the most part continued on in this reality as anyone would expect in the other universes. Spider-Man fought crime and foiled any superheroes who would periodically threaten the city. After some time, John Jameson, the son of J. Jonah Jameson, led a space expedition that uncovered the existence of Counter-Earth, a seemingly carbon copy of Earth located equidistantly from Earth 751-263 on the far side of the Sun. Carnage and Venom, who were frenemies in Universe 92131, are actually cohorts in this timeline. The Clintar of Counter-Earth contact and impart their knowledge of their ancestry and the dormant remaining symbiote spores to the unlikely duo. The duo hatch a sinister scheme to revive the Synoptic, and essentially conspire to enact a world domination plot. To this end, they manage to hitch a ride aboard Jameson's space shuttle, the Solaris 1. Spider-Man becomes privy to their scheme and tries to intercept them, but is unsuccessful. The symbiotes manage to escape, and Spider-Man takes the rap for Jameson's botched mission to counter Earth. Knowing that the symbiotes are arguably his deadliest foes, and feeling a strong sense of responsibility, Spider-Man resolves to commandeer Solaris 2 and head through the rift to save Jameson and clear his name. As he is unaware of what new threats he will encounter in this world, Spider-Man gears up for the challenge that awaits him, with an all-new suit made from nanotechnology, sporting additional augments that seek to complement his already astounding powers, and remedy any shortcomings he may have had before. Sonic blasters, a cloaking device, ballistic spider darts, impact webbing, and spider traces. He was ready, and he needed to be. Shortly after arriving, he is apprehended by the Knights of Wondergore, an elite task force that consists of human and animal hybrid soldiers, considered to be the supreme beings of this new world. This hybrid race, known as Bestials, are the brainchild of a tyrannical dictator and geneticist, known as the High Evolutionary. Spider-Man learns that humans on Counter-Earth are suppressed and viewed as low-class citizens and relics of the past. The majority of humankind here have capitulated, being subjected to experiments or have taken refuge in the slums. A few humans who have banded together form the Resistance and have recruited John Jameson in their fight against the High Evolutionary. Spider-Man reluctantly joins John and his men and gets embroiled in a civil war, while in addition trying to foil the symbiote's subplot for world domination. Then, just as quickly as things escalated, they immediately were brought to a screeching halt, as the show was abruptly ended in 2001. So what exactly happened here? Can we logically extrapolate how things would have transpired on Counter-Earth? Just how far exactly could Spider-Man Unlimited have gone? Or is this question an antinomy? Let's take a closer look. Now, unlike how I normally conduct my analysis on characters to determine their potential, with Spider-Man Unlimited, we continually will need to work our way forward and backwards in time. Cast your mind back to Universe 92131 for a moment. Here, we mentioned that it was highly likely that Spider-Man Unlimited's world is the congruent continuation of this one. But what makes Spider-Man such an intriguing and popular superhero? The fact that he is relatable. Arguably one of, if not the most relatable hero in the Marvel Universe. He isn't some billionaire playboy or cosmic mythological god. He is a regular student working a dead-end part-time job in Queens. Or at least he is, for the most part. What draws people to him is his strong moral compass and his potential, despite all odds, to rise to meet whatever challenge besets him. These central themes hold true across the Marvel multiverse for all Spider-Men, be it Miles Morales, Ben Reilly, or Miguel O'Hara. In fact, it is widely accepted that Spider-Man Unlimited is quite heavily inspired by Spider-Man 2099. However, Spider-Man Unlimited still sets himself apart from 2099 and other versions of Spider-Man in a number of ways. Now, when we are talking about the Spider-Verse, the majority of other Spider-Man stories, be they set in the past, the future, or in another universe entirely, are all exactly that. Other Spider-Man stories. Spider-Man Unlimited's story is one of the first, and might even be the only other universe outside of the comics that actually tries to commit to the concept of marrying Peter Parker's character to the idea of growth, as opposed to retelling the elements of his story with another new character. Or, if we are being honest, exploring ideas that the writers found intriguing but did not want to explore with Peter in fear of alienating or dividing the core Spider-Man fanbase. As we know, people will be more open to new stories if what has been established before is not being retconned in the process. Contemporary Marvel Cinematic Universe films are slowly painting a picture of what future Peter Parker will look like, as we actively see Spider-Man being groomed to become a successor of the next phase as one of the leaders of the Avengers. If Spider-Man Unlimited and Peter Parker from Earth 92131 are indeed one and the same, it also goes without saying that he has defeated most of the main cast of supervillains at least twice, if not more. Also, unlike other Spider-Men, he is relatively untroubled when it comes to dealing with the symbiotes. This makes Spider-Man Unlimited by far the most experienced and combat proficient Spider-Man we have yet to see in any cinematic universe to date. The TV show also seemed to leave a lot of questions unanswered, and this was largely due to the show being cancelled due to ratings of the show being unsatisfactory. But when you see what it was competing with at the time, it's not hard to see why. In essence, Spider-Man Unlimited is a very rare case where we actually get to see what happens when a character's true potential is realized in mainstream media. Less glamorously, he also was the first Spider-Man to have the unfortunate privilege to teach us that with great power comes great production rights struggles. And due to the way deals are made regarding his IP, it's unlikely we will ever canonically see this version of Spider-Man return. His journey began with a splinter in time, and for young Spider fans growing up watching him on TV in the late 90s and early 2000s, his journey ended by leaving a splinter in our hearts. And yet, all is not lost, as somehow it seems the legacy he was a pioneer of lives on through the likes of Miles Morales' Into the Spider-Verse series. There may yet be hope that we see tribute being paid to him in the future once more. Because, if anything is certain about the Spider-Verse, it's that no matter what happens, the possibilities will always be unlimited.